On this episode of Fitness Junkeez, we meet NPC bodybuilding athlete and Cutler Nutrition sponsored athlete, Angie Feliciano. We go to Kilo Club in Summerlin, Las Vegas, and Angie shows us how to build a professional body.
Stretch, slow, like a little bit of a rounded movement. And then when you come back, you're gonna go right to that little contracted area.
It's always been like a personal goal for me. When the doctors told me like, hey, you're not gonna do this anymore, I was just like, okay. And I'm the type of person, I have a type of personality, when you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do the opposite. You know what I mean?
Right. Enjoy the show. What's up, Fit Fam? This is Giovanni of Gio's Logic, your host of Fitness Junkeez. I hope this show meets you in good health and spirits, and if not, I hope it inspires you to do something about it. I'm really excited about today's guest, and I'm not going to waste any more time. Angie, how are you?
Good. How are you, Gio?
Good. We had a little hiccup last week, which God's hand is stronger than any other hand or plan. How's Jay and his family doing? And
they're doing quite well, considering the circumstance.
Yeah.
Jay was very close to his dad, so he lived a long life. He was 92 years old.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. Great man.
Yeah.
He bases his success on the way his father raised him. So
nice.
All his kids are very much successful people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I get a feel. I've only spent a little time with you, but I get a sense that you're the kind of person that makes a negative or bad situation palatable, or you bring positiveness into it. Is that something that you find that you do?
Yeah. I try. I mean, it's hard because sometimes, you get one thing after another. When it rains, it pours. So in my older age, I've learned to, instead of dwelling on what I don't have or being stressed out, turning it around and looking in the good out of it, and what life lessons you're learning from it. So I try to always stay positive, and I'm very much religious person. So I always talk to God and help me get through, my tough times, and always try to make everything a positive situation out of it,
Which God do you pray to?
I'm Christian. So.
Christian. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Jay Christian?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Boston or maybe Catholic.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do with my guest is usually I want to kind of get an idea, and I want our listeners to get an idea of your fitness journey. Like, how did you get started into fitness, and how did it take you to bikini bodybuilding?
Okay, well, in 2008, one of my dear best friends, she's like a sister to me. My family is very close to her. Noy Alexander, she's a Olympian athlete. She was in bikini.
Yeah.
She got me into it. She said, you have like a really nice shape. Like, I was a gymnast and I was a professional dancer. That was my background. So she was like, you just have like a great genetics. Like, I think you should try doing a competition. And I'm like, I don't know, because I like to eat. I'm Puerto Rican, so I love to eat, We love eating our rice, our beans, our fried food. And she's like, just try it. And at the time, it was only figure, because bikini didn't exist.
Right.
So for me, that was kind of challenging to see my body change and develop. And I had a great coach. She had a great, her coach was my coach, and it was Denise Bloom. I've been with her since 2008. So it was pretty intense and cool at the same time to see your body drastically change. And I had to put on muscle that I never had before.
Right.
So it was a process doing that. And I always placed well in a regional show. I always took top 5 or, top 3, but you know what I mean? Like I always placed. So when I did a national show, that's a different ball game.
Right.
Because you got to come in harder, tighter,
right.
Fuller,
right.
But leaner too. You know what I mean? It's like chaotic, but
right.
you know what I mean? And that's when I started noticing the challenges in my knee. In my left knee, I started getting excess fluid, and I didn't know why. And like kind of towards my end of my prep when I was doing nationals in Florida, I had to go to an orthopedic surgeon, and he was just like, listen, I think we should do surgery after your show. And it was like hard because, they would drain my knee. Sometimes I would have 90 cc's of fluid on my little knee.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
they would give me cortisone shots. And that's when I learned about all that stuff, you know? And I tried everything from like turmeric to vitamins to just babying the knee, infrared, all that stuff. And I had 2 arthroscopic surgeries because after like 2 years later, it came back again. And they didn't know why. So he wanted to do like a biopsy to see if it was, autoimmune disease or something. And they ruled all of that out. And then I took a break. He told me, I don't think you're going to compete again. I don't think, and this is another, I got 2 opinions, obviously. And he told me, I don't think you're going to compete again. I think, you could work out, but not as to that level or intensity.
Right.
And I was like depressed. I went through a little bit of that's like telling somebody they can't walk. You know what I mean? Or do, just your basic thing.
Right.
And I was in the industry, nightlife industry. So it was just like, you have to stay in shape to be in that industry.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if you love to eat, you definitely got to work out.
Yeah. So I took about 6 years off. But before that, I took 6 years off, and then they started to bring in bikini. And quickly Noi switched because she's like a smaller version of me.
Got it.
But she was like she's a phenomenal athlete. She's just, that woman just does not quit. And she just had a shorter torso, so it doesn't benefit as much, you know what I mean, when you're figure.
Right.
So she went to bikini because she was a power lifter. So she had the legs already, the muscles, she's from Hawaii. And she started doing bikini, and she did great. And then she did amateur, Olympia. I mean, she did the Arnold, and then she came and did the Olympia, and she did good. So she made a name for herself, and that's what got me started.
Yeah, I think I remember her name. Is she still competing?
No, she's retired now. She trains people now.
Got it.
So she lives in Florida now.
Cool. So you said further back you were a gymnast. And what other sport? Dancing.
Yeah.
What kind of dancing?
I've been dancing since I was 3. So I did ballet, jazz, tap, salsa, hip hop.
Yes, I think I saw on your Instagram you were on the treadmill and you were doing this salsa.
You got to make it fun,
Oh my God.
Cardio's horrible.
Oh God, yeah. You do make it fun. I saw you also boxing. That's for cardio as well?
I do it's like a full, I do like a whole full workout. I was doing Muay Thai at one time when I was, training for a show because it's like a full hour. You're burning like anywhere from like 700 calories. You know what I mean?
Boxing workouts are no joke.
Yeah. And then I started doing boxing because my coach left and he moved to another state. So I started doing boxing and I really loved it and it got me lean.
Yeah. And you get your frustration out.
I don't punch people out.
I love that. So do you think your kind of attraction to fitness was because you love to eat and you also want your body to look a certain way? Or do you just love the feeling that you get? What is it like the primary reason you found exercise and working out and you still do it?
I guess like being on stage, like I'm a performer, you know what I mean? So I'm used to performing for people. So that's what kind of got me into it. Like the fact that I wasn't performing anymore, dancing or competing or doing anything like that, being able to still go on stage and your body still looks the way it does, that was like a vice for me.
Got
you
it.
know what I mean? Like it made me be accountable because, you know, when you're in your 20s, you don't have to worry about what you're eating.
Right.
It just like goes right through you.
Right.
You know? But then when they didn't kid, like when they say when you hit your 30s, you got to watch it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I felt competing always kept me accountable for my body and kept me like disciplined. Like I could be out with my girlfriends and I mean, me and Noi would be on our outings because you would have outings. It was a requirement if you worked in nightlife. You had to go outings and we're getting ready for competitions. So me and her would have, instead of a shaker, we would bring our protein and put it in a shaker and drink it and watch everybody drink around us.
That's hilarious.
And we would just be sitting there like, okay, this is hard, you know? But then we would sit there and look and go, okay, we would look up on our phones, what alcohol has the less amount of calories that we could drink.
Right.
And then we would do like an extra 30 minutes of cardio and cut out a carb.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was very like disciplined, but you had your like, you know, rhythm.
I think the key to being consistent and being able to maintain your body composition is to have tricks like that. You got to. Otherwise, you lose your mind. You can't just be strict.
You can't.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. Everybody has a little tipping point.
Yeah.
Like even look at Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
You know, he talks about in his documentary, like he would eat clean all the time and he wasn't placing. He was taking 8th place.
Right.
And then he sits in his friend's room, one of the fellow competitors, and he's like, just take a shot, you know, vodka. And the next day he came in looking like your body needs that. It like sucks that up.
Yeah.
If you ever notice after a show, everybody's eating like crap. You're eating everything that you want and you look your best.
Right.
And you're like, damn, why couldn't I look like this
Right.
at my show?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's weird. Like sometimes you have those meals and the next day you look so lean. It's like, what did I do? I thought I was going to be puffy and
It's so true.
Yeah, it's interesting. The body is very interesting. Now most people outside of the bodybuilding world, and even I guess some of the people that are in it don't really understand that there's not a lot of money to be made in bodybuilding.
No.
You have to have something else going on or you can kind of leverage it to launch something else.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got going on?
Before I, like I said, I was in nightlife. I moved here in 2002 from New Jersey by myself. And my parents were really scared when I first moved here.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, you're our youngest child. There's 3 of us. You know, you're our youngest child and you're going to move like halfway across the country. Like, no.
Right.
And I had
and to Vegas.
into Vegas, yeah. They were like, oh my gosh, she's going to be a drug addict. Like they were thinking like the worst. And I'm
Right.
like, and I have very strict, old school Puerto Rican parents. You know, I wasn't allowed to sleep over people's houses. Like boys weren't allowed to call my house. Very like, we were raised Catholic, but then became Christian. You know what I mean? So I had both.
Okay.
You know, double.
Right.
But I sat down and I talked to my dad and I said, listen, you guys taught me that whatever I put my mind to, I could believe I can do whatever I want as long as I believe in myself. I said, what's the worst that's going to happen? I don't like it and I come back home. You know what I mean? But I've been working in the corporate world since I was probably about 14. I would go with my mom. She worked for the city. So they would have half-day programs, you know, for school to teach you how to be like I guess into the adult world to get a job. Mm-hmm. So I would always go to my mom's job, help answer phones, do things like that. And then at like, I think like 19 or 20, I was working in the city, and I was making like, I mean, for a 20-year-old, I was making like 25,000 a year, and they were like, that's a lot of money for a kid.
Right.
You know, so I always had, you know, a corporate background,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then I changed, you know, throughout the years, I changed my careers. Like I went to be a human resource manager. I worked for pharmaceuticals. I was paralegal. I've tried different hats.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved here, I was an executive assistant for an advertising company. So I didn't just leave with no backup.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I left and I had a job lined up, started doing that. And then I got into nightlife. My girlfriend's like, oh, why don't you try out? There's this new club opening up called Jet. And I was like, I've worked at a bar before, you know, but I never worked like in nightlife. And she's like, just try it. You know, you never know. And you work the weekends, you know? So I was like, okay. And I did. I got the job, and I was working 2 jobs. I was doing, you know, working in corporate, legal, and then at night working in the industry for the weekend.
Crushing it.
Yeah. At those times, you were crushing it.
Right? Back in the day.
Miss those days. And then finally, like after 2 years, my ex-boyfriend was like, okay, you got to pick something. You're going to burn yourself out.
Right.
And I did. And I picked, obviously, I was smarter. You work smarter, not harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was making double, triple the money that I was making and working less hours. I was working 40 plus and then working like, you know, 8-hour shifts and taking home cash.
Right.
And I'm like, and I still got insurance.
Right.
I had, you know what I mean? So
Right.
It was great.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yeah, like if you this is something that you're dedicated to doing, you're broke. This has no money unless you are somebody. You know what I mean? Or you're already a brand and then you got into it.
Right.
But if you're starting out, you're broke. Jay talks about it all the time, how he's like, I had no money. Like I was broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, I worked for my brothers growing up because they own their own concrete business. They have a huge business back east. And, you know, he worked for them, and then he worked and started doing his own thing and worked for different people. And then finally he got signed and got notoriety. You know what I mean? So it took time.
Right.
You know, even for myself, like I never said, okay, well, I'm going to be, you know, a fitness model or, you know, something like that.
Right.
I just went because I loved it. That's something I love to do. I love to look good. I love to see how the body changes and how, okay, I could look like this. This is pretty cool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I always had, you know, corporate, like I said, corporate background. And then I went into nightlife, and the nightlife gave me room to play, you know, so I can work out Monday through Friday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I worked.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't really take away from anything.
Right.
And it gave me that discipline to like focus and really pay attention to my craft of what I'm trying to do here.
Right.
You know?
And so, like Jay, you know, reaching the top of his class, is that your path? Are you going to spin? I know you have a supplement company with him, right? And is that your thing, or are you going to? What's your plan?
Eventually, I mean, right now, I think I'm focused on turning pro. That's my main goal. Hopefully, I'll be able to do Masters USAs in December. It's in Arizona this year. So I'm going to take a shot at that and hopefully get my pro card. It's always been like a personal goal for me. When the doctors told me like, hey, you're not going to do this anymore, I was just like, okay. And I'm the type of person, I have a type of personality, when you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do the opposite.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I feel that.
So I sat there for 6 years and I'm like, you know, why am I sitting not doing something I love doing? And I would go support my friends that were doing shows. And finally I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I took runner up like first time I did it. You know, I did bikini for the first time. And bikini wasn't the way it is now. it was like Hawaiian tropics, like
Right.
a little cut up, like how you would get prepared for auditions for the pool, or
Right.
you know what I mean? It wasn't so intense of how they make you look like mini bodybuilder, but tapered and the butt and like all this stuff. And I'm like, God, it's so like crazy now. You know what I
Right.
mean? You're killing yourself to look
Right.
the part.
A certain way.
You know, so it was pretty much like, you know, it was, I don't want to say it's easy. It was just like easier than what it is now. Now it's very technical. You know, everybody always asks what's harder, a regional show or a national show. I said a national show. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because you don't have to get as ripped. You know what I mean? As when you're doing a regional. Regional is like, yes, they want to know that you know, your body's cut. It's lean. You could get that muscle, but you're coming in too hard. That could go against you too.
Right.
So you have to come just in that in-between mark.
Yeah.
You know, and then don't fall off. Like I would take off and then just play. You know what I mean? And this time around, I said, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take off, a week and then get back into working out and stay on a regimen so I don't have to kill myself.
And another cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So get your pro card. Then what?
And
What's
then,
the next step?
Hopefully like make a brand for myself, you know? I work for Jay now. He's just like, dude, you're so smart. I need somebody. I need somebody I can trust that has brains and is not going to, so to speak, screw him, because a lot of people do, because he's so nice. You know, he's one of the most amazing minds I've ever met business-wise, and so giving. He's never like a jealous person. People want to know, how do you succeed in life? You know, what's the key to your success? He'll sit down and talk to people for hours and tell you and help you.
Wow.
And he'll never be like one of those people who are like, I don't got time for you.
Right.
He'll sit there and like, I admire his work ethic and how giving he is to people, because he's like, you know, these are the people that you look at that when you had nothing, and you remember that, you know, they're where you are. You know what I mean? So that is going to take that one person to say, oh, Jay Cutler is, can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler is an asshole. He didn't say hi to me, or he just like brushed me off. He goes, it takes that one person to ruin your reputation. So he's like, I'd rather sit there and give them the time of day, you know, because they sat there for 4 hours waiting for me. So he, you know, that's one thing I give him credit. He'll wait till the very end, and he'll stay longer than what he's supposed to, always.
And it's probably sometimes you're probably like, okay, I understand.
Well, he makes me look like the bad guy. He's like, okay, get me out of here now. He'll give me that look, that little look. He's like, you're my little, you know, Puerto Rican firecracker. He was like, okay, guys, he has to go. Take your pictures as he's walking. Come on, you know. But
so, let's talk about Jay a little bit more here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel now? I'm sure the insiders in the industry know you're engaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that helps you with the judges or not?
Not at all.
Because I know there's politics in judging.
Yes.
You don't think it helps?
No. Not for me. For like, because these people don't. You got to understand, a lot of these shows that I do, I remember these people when I wasn't behind Jay Cutler.
Right.
And they couldn't give me the time or day to talk to me, half of these people.
Right.
And now they talk to me. You know what I mean?
So it does help on that end.
That they know who I am. But if I'm not bringing, I'm going to tell you this. I feel that people ask me, is it harder? How do you feel competing now that you're with Jay? I said, I feel that there's more pressure on me to be the best I can be. I can't even slack just a little bit.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because when you think of bodybuilding, that is a very well-known name. That's like the man, the legend, right?
I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then if I came in just half-assed it or just even a little bit off, people are going to be like, this is Jay's girl. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel that there's a huge amount of pressure when I have to do a competition. And that's why I kind of go into like a zone where I don't tell too many people what show I'm doing or what I'm, or hang out with a lot of my friends at the end because I need to buckle down and be almost like a hermit and secluded from everybody and not be tempted and not let things get in my head so I could be focused. You know what I mean? And then towards the end, like people didn't know what show I was doing because I don't announce it, because like I said, these judges don't know. Like when I just did this last show, the Southwest in Anaheim, they didn't even know Jay was coming. They didn't even know I was competing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they had no idea.
Well, like you didn't register early or?
Nope. I registered very at the end.
Got it.
And like I said, my name isn't like, they don't know me on that Angie Feliciano. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they know me when they see me.
Right.
You get what I mean? So my name is not like, yeah, people know I'm Jay's girl, but they don't really, collate like my last name with him.
Right.
They just know Angie.
Right.
You get what I mean? So,
right.
I think though, with these guys that are judging the show, they're very much like, how can I say it?
Be careful.
No, they're very, they're Brazilian. They're very straightforward, as Tamar, I think is Tamar and I think, I forget their name.
Okay. Right.
But they're very much straightforward. You know what I mean? They'll tell you like, look, she's not looking that great because they can tell. They know my coach. My coach is very well known in the industry, and Jay, and they'll tell him. They have no problem telling him like, yeah,
right.
she's slacking on her tie-in or she needs to pose better or do this. So
right.
I took, I had the I felt that I had my package right. My coach will tell me, she's like, I'm not going to put you on stage if you don't look the part because that's my name on the line.
Right.
And that's one thing. She's like a second mom to me. So she's like very like straightforward.
Right.
But even when I did my last competition, I did Legends in 2019. 2019 I did Legends. I took second in Open and I took third in Masters. And they told me, slow down on your posing, like don't rush through it, take your time, just come in a little bit more tighter, So I took all of their little critiques this time around and I focused more. I did more cardio. I did more reps. You know what I mean? I cut out certain things. Me and my coach really worked on it. And Tamer actually told me, he was like, I'm very impressed with your package this year. He's like, you listened and and he's like, and you're more confident in your posing. And I practiced posing in the mirror a lot because now it's different. They change your posing up every time. Like you get used to one little thing.
Right.
It's like they change it up. They want it this way now. Right. So it's like, dang, once I got this down, now I gotta like figure this out. Right. But he said that he was very impressed with the way I looked this time around. And I was happy because I had a lot of challenges. I was getting fluid again in my knees. And it wasn't from working out. It was from the cardio. You know what I mean? Because I had to do what works for me. I feel where I excelled a little bit more was doing stairs. And I don't do it crazy. Like I don't do intervals. I don't do running. I don't do anything like that. I do it at like, steady pace. Like if I'm doing the treadmill, I'll do 3.4 speed, incline of 5. You know what I mean? Or then I'll keep it flat and do 30 minutes. But I'm doing 2 hours of cardio a day, so I would break it up. Like in the morning, I'll do fasted 30 minutes after my workout with Denise. And then 30 minutes when I got home and 30 minutes right before bed. Sometimes your schedule doesn't allow you that. When you work for somebody that's, it's very busy, fast paced. And takes up a lot of my time, I can't pick and choose my times. You know what I mean? Because I can't slack on my job with Jay either. Right. Because I do everything on the back end. Right. I do all the bills, all the contracts, everything. You know? So for me, I have to sometimes just do an hour and 30 minutes. So I think that's what gave me like that fluid. And it was pain, but I worked through it. And then I went to the doctor again, and the doctor just said to me, oh, considering you don't have any arthritis. So that was one of my scares. I thought maybe I had osteoarthritis or something, you know, some type of form. But he's like, nope. He's like, we're going to do an MRI as long as you don't have a tear. He's like, I just think you're just one of those people that unfortunately your brain is telling your knee, oh, protect it. And it's like just giving you excess fluid. That's all it is.
Interesting.
So I was like, all right. So now I ice my knees before I'm about to go do cardio.
You ice them before?
And then I'll ice them after. But I always wear wraps now when I do cardio. Before I really wasn't. You know what I mean? So I didn't, or when I lift, I didn't. And now I wear like wraps when I do, you know, leg workouts, squats and stuff. Yeah.
Well, each episode, we try and have our guest hosts take us through a few of their favorite workouts. We go to Kilo Club in Summerlin, Las Vegas. Let's see what Angie had cooking for upper body. So, Angie, we're going to do a upper body exercise first.
Yes.
What you got for us here?
We're gonna do some dual pulley rolls.
Okay.
I like to really get like a really good, when I do them, I like to squeeze and contract the muscle.
Okay.
So I can really hit this back part right up in here.
Okay.
So this is what we're gonna start to do today.
Awesome.
It go short days, long nights. We be gone to the morning. Yeah, they love it. All eyes on me when I put it on. Hallways, porch lights. Gotta keep the evil off. Oh me, oh my. I just be like, who be gone? 10 roll spliffs in a VIP. We don't do lines. Didn't need a glow. Cause we always been the cool guys. Beach tent.
Okay, so these are one of my favorite exercises when I do back. You know, I like to do the dual pulley roll. You want to make sure your feet are always planted straight on the pedals here. And you don't want to go like so far back that you lock your knees like straight. You want to have like a little bit of a bend, okay? A lot of people do it wrong. I'm going to explain why, because they're just trying to get this movement quick, so they always go like this, really quick, right? What you really want to do is take your time and contract each time you're pulling, to contract your lats, you know, your delts, everything. So what you want to do is squeeze your back, your lats, contract it, and then you want to get that stretch as you're pulling forward. So then each time you're contracting, holding it, taking your time, and then you're going to stretch and pull over. So when you get to my back, you're going to see what I'm talking about. See how I contract that muscle, your lats, and you're gonna pull down.
I know with this exercise, you work a lot of biceps as well. And I know when you're competing, symmetry and not getting too big in specific areas, do you do a lot of specific bicep work, or do you get a lot of your bicep work from your back exercises?
I try not to do a lot of bicep exercises because I used to be a gymnast and a dancer, so I have that kind of body. So I actually only work out once a week, my upper body.
Once a week?
Once a week.
Okay.
Because it gets too big, too quick.
Yep.
So basically I do get my, you know, when I do my back, my shoulders, my arm presses, all those kind of exercises are kind of with my biceps.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
I try not to work them out too hard. If I do, I'll do a lightweight, like 10, 15.
Right.
Because, like you said, you got to have symmetry when you're doing bikini.
Yeah. I could see when you're pulling back, in the back, your biceps are just ripping. Yeah. I always see these girls in the gym doing all these biceps exercises. I'm like, you don't need that. You don't need that. It's just like old school thought process. It's like, especially if you're trying to do bikini. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because like even Jay, like he'll see me one day like in the house and he's like, holy shit, you're fucking jacked. And I'm like, oh, God. I look who's talking. You're walking around like this around the house. Like, are you serious? Like, I wish you could have a camera to see us. Like, my friends always say, like, you guys need a show because you guys are hilarious.
That would be a good show.
You gotta see, like, Jay, like, it's funny because he just laughs at me because he really doesn't like me in the fitness world. It's funny because a lot of these guys that are famous bodybuilders, they don't like their women in it. You know, they like their women to be a little bit more curvier, softer, not ripped, because they want to squeeze onto something.
Got it.
You know what I mean? As long as you don't look fat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They kind of like the opposite. And because they've been so disciplined, they want somebody that's not like their world revolves around it too. You know what I mean? So Jay was like, like when I first told him I was going to get back into a show, he's like, I hate girls that do competitions. I hate it. I don't want it. I did this for like 26 years. I don't want to be around somebody's like, I got to eat. I got to do this. I gotta do cardio, you know? And he's like, that was my job.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I'm retired, you know?
Right.
I said, listen, I promise you, I am not like that. You don't have to revolve your world around me. I just go with the flow. I make sure I eat my meals. If we go out, as long as I have my salad and my food, like chicken or fish, I'm good.
Right.
I'm not, I promise you. I said, now the week of, just don't fuck with me. Leave me alone. You know, when I'm pulling my water and like, you know, you don't have salt in your food.
Right.
Just leave me alone. You know what I mean? You're cranky, you're irritable.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, you know, you're pretty good. Like, I thought you would be like, oh my God. And I'm like, no.
Oh, good.
I'm not like that.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you convinced him.
Yeah.
And this is the means to a goal, which I'm still not sure what your brand is going to be.
My personal goal is to just get a pro card for myself. That's my personal goal. Like, just for me to say, I did it. You know, I'm a professional athlete. And I know there's a lot of people that struggle, you know, that go through, everybody always sees like the great, like the wins and all the great stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't see like when you're going through, when I'm sitting there crying and I'm like, I just don't want to do this and I want to fucking give up. And have a little voice in my head that tells me, you know, you're not a quitter. Don't do that, you know? And, or I'm sitting there icing my legs up with pillows up to here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a process, you know? And, that is my goal. And then once I get my pro card, then I kind of want to do my brand. Like, I'm going to school because I want to be a medical esthetician. I want to have like my own product line, like things like
Beauty?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, and you're authentic, and I think that will shine through any kind of marketing you do, like this type of thing. I think people will gravitate towards that. So, love it. So, let's see what she had for us for lower body. So, Angie, what do you got here? I said one exercise. What's going on here?
Well, I like to superset a lot.
Okay.
That's the way my trainer trains me.
Okay.
Her name is Bloom.
D. Bloom.
Denise Bloom.
Okay.
She's been in the industry for 36 years. So I've been with her for a decade. So she really knows my body very well. She always has me superset things because, you know, you burn more calories that way.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing 2 exercises. So
All right.
we're going to get it going.
Get to it.
So this is for your, which I have to work on, my tie-in. So I try to get like my tie-in, I have to work on it a lot. They told me I had to work, you know, just a little bit more just to get it. So my glute tie-in, this is a good exercise. So you want to step up, put your feet back as far as you kind of can. And what you want to do is just go down. And you want to feel that stretch. Because when you're going like hanging down,
Right to there.
you're gonna get that stretch from the back here. You get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And your knees are like a little bent, so you're gonna feel like right there, that stretch. Make sure your feet are aligned. And then you're just gonna go. If you even wanna go like that, just to get a little bit of a more stretch on there, you're just gonna go straight. Stretch.
All right, so what's next? What's the other part of the superset?
My superset here is I'll work my abs, shoulders. This is really hard. A lot of people don't like doing these, but it helps with your core and your shoulders. And you kind of get like a full workout when you're doing this, but you got to make sure that everything is very centered. So you want to make sure, I'm using 25 dumbbell. So what you want to do is make sure that your hair, especially for a girl, your head is like kind of hanging off, okay? And then what you're gonna do is put your dumbbell in a triangle form. You're gonna hold it in a triangle form right here. And then you're gonna pull your arms back and bring your feet.
You're 2 days after a show. And have you pigged out? Because you're still really lean, but you're probably not show lean.
I am not showy lean, but I had fun. I had like just a little bit. I didn't want to fall off because I actually am gonna do Masters USA's. So I don't want to fall too far off.
Right.
So I played a little bit. Like I have my meals for the day, maybe one bad meal a day, and that's about it.
Okay. Right.
I really don't, because you work so hard, and what a lot of people do is like they'll eat like crazy, and within a month you're like, your body's like totally different.
Start again.
And it's like, wow,
Yeah.
I took 2.5 months, and now like
Right.
it's done, it's gone.
Right. Right.
So I feel like it's in moderation.
Yeah.
You put in all that work and all that time and all that effort, just do it in moderation, but stay on a plan.
Yeah.
And I do an hour of cardio a day,
Wow.
and that's all I do, and just pretty much I usually just eat clean throughout my day.
Oh, good. Good. So I never got to the answer I was looking for. What is your jam when you are done cutting, the show is over, and it's like, what is the thing that you've been depriving yourself with, and like you got to get it in?
Honestly, pasta.
Pasta.
Yeah,
Okay.
like pasta or like steak, because I don't have red meat on
When
my
you're
diet.
training?
Yeah.
Okay.
She gives me chicken, turkey, and white fish. That's it.
Lower fat meat.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
No red meat.
Okay.
So like when I finished my show, I had like mashed potatoes, like garlic. Like I haven't had mashed potatoes, I couldn't tell you. And desserts. I'm a sweet tooth person. I could eat clean all day long, but when it comes to sweets, like I'm like, ugh. And it's like a ongoing joke. Me and my girlfriend, we used to smell the like sweets to get like a satisfied taste. We used to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Just to get a taste. But yeah.
Now, do you get a little joy from your protein shakes during training? Is that your sweet, basically?
Yeah. We have with Cutler Nutrition, a great protein line. And it's whey protein, ISO. And we have like the flavors that we got. We wanted to make sure the problem with proteins or even pre-workouts, I said, Jay, if you're going to do a brand and you're going to revamp your brand, make sure it tastes exactly like what you're putting on your label.
Right, like peanut butter chocolate should taste like peanut butter chocolate.
Not have the aftertaste.
Right.
Nothing like that. So he went with more of like brands that like flavors that everybody can, what's the word I'm looking for?
Recognize.
Recognize. Like we did Cocoa Pebbles, like that kind of taste for the chocolate. Marshmallow, like crispy treats, like the vanilla, you know what I mean? Fruity Pebbles, like, like Fruit Loops. It tastes like Fruit Loops, swear to God.
Right.
Peanut butter, he wanted like Reese's Pieces, like to taste like that.
Right.
So we were doing a lot of taste testing at the house.
Right.
But I mean, even the cinnamon, we have a cinnamon one, it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's so good. So I would mix that up. Like my go-to, my trainer put it in my diet. So it was like almost like a treat for me.
Right.
I would put like 1/3 cup oats. I would have like quick oats. Put 2 tablespoons of vanilla non-fat Greek yogurt. And then I put a scoop of protein. Mix it up. It tastes like I'm eating pudding sometimes. It's just like so good.
Right.
And then right before bed, she'll let me have protein before I go to bed. That's my last meal. So she would tell me, okay, put 2 scoops of protein. I mean, put 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt in your scoop of protein and mix it up. It was like having pudding. Sometimes I'll put it in the freezer and it's like a little bit thicker.
Right.
So it was like a shake almost, like a milkshake. You know?
And these are the types of tricks people that are really into fitness or competing, they do to stave off those cravings.
And don't get me wrong, she would tell me, if you have a craving, buy sugar-free ice pops. I would have sugar-free ice pops. Sometimes I would take Jay's BCAAs and I make ice pops with the BCAAs.
Right. That's
you
perfect.
know what I mean?
That's good.
So I would do stuff like that, or his Generate. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the recovery parts. Like, or I would just take sugar-free Jell-O, sugar-free puddings.
Right.
Like, those are little things.
Right.
My little vices.
That get you through.
That get you through. But you still feel like you're kind of cheating, but you're not.
Right.
You know? So it was like those little things, little tricks were perfect for me.
Yeah. That's
know?
funny. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So tell me what you have here.
I didn't bring a lot. I forgot.
It's okay.
But I did.
You know where to find me.
Yeah. I'll send you a care package.
Okay.
This is our amplified. This is our pre-workouts. This is with no stems. Our other one that we have, it has stems in it. That's the only difference. You know what I mean? But these flavors, like this one's like sour lemon drops, like it tastes like, you know what I mean? This one is our peach mango. And it's really good.
And this is a pre-workout.
But that's with no stems. It still gives you that pump.
Right.
But it doesn't make your heart, you know what I mean, get a little like caffeinated.
Right.
Get a little jittery.
I hate that.
Yeah. So this would be perfect. Like some of my girlfriends that have heart conditions, they're like, dude, I feel like I took some serious pre-workout because it still gives you that pump that you're looking for, but you're not jittery or anything.
Right.
You know, so they love it.
And where can people find their products?
jaycutler.com.
Okay.
And if you click my link on in my bio and Instagram, use code Angie, you'll get a discount off of it.
Okay. And I'm curious. I don't like the protein that I'm on. I'm looking for a new protein. So you got to send me. Do you have peanut butter or chocolate?
Yes, we do. Oh. We have peanut butter.
Hook a brother
up. I will send you a care package. We like our stuff. Jay tested. This is what I loved about Jay. He took it serious this time. Like he had a company before that kind of ran it, you know, his brand.
Right.
So he really didn't have much say.
He put his name on it, basically. Yeah.
Because he had to promote their brand.
Right.
You know, he was a paid athlete. So when he took the brand, and he exited out, he was like, you know, I'm going to put in there what I needed as a bodybuilder or even as a woman. You tell me, he asked my input a lot, like what you would lack or what you need when you're taking this stuff. Because girls don't like taking all this stuff. Let's be real. Like guys are really into this. You know, we like stuff. If you tell us like our skin's going to look good or, you know what I mean?
Our hair's going to look good.
Great, you know, we're like, okay, sign me up, you know?
My lips are going to pop.
That's what girls care about, right? But you know, more or less, I tell them from a girl standpoint, you want to make sure it tastes what you're, you know, it tastes good. Like what you're taking, it actually tastes like. It doesn't have a bad tart or bad aftertaste.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So he's coming up with a lot of new things. We're coming up with some greens that have flavor, so they're not so gross when you take greens. You know what I mean? We have a lot of vitamins. We have, you know, enzymes. We have curcumin, which that was really good for my inflammation because it had turmeric in it. And that's a main factor for inflammation, you know?
Right.
And he has another one called Sculpt. All my girlfriends want this. It's like, they call it the magic, like, fat burner pill. They love it. They're like, give me some more.
Sculpt.
Yeah, it's called Sculpt.
Okay.
And there's another one called Transfer that it transfers like bad fats out of your body. And Jay took, you know, I give him credit because everything he strategically looked at and wanted to give back to the consumers. You know what I mean? Like, and sit back and say, okay, you're spending this amount of money on protein and pre-workouts and supplements. I'm really going to give you what you're asking for. And we took a lot of, like I said, he did a lot of research. He did a lot of, you know, taste testing. I was the guinea pig for a lot of this stuff. And, you know, I'm very proud of the brand, and he sticks by it, you know. So, and there's more to come. He's doing more flavors for pre-workouts. There's going to be a new one coming out called Mojito.
Okay.
It's just like a bunch.
Which will taste like a mojito.
Tastes like mojito.
Yeah. Awesome. So the name of the brand is
Cutler Nutrition.
Cutler Nutrition. Okay. Train like a pro. Love it. Angie, this was great. You're great. I'm so glad I got to meet you. You know, we're really going to keep an eye on you, see where you're going to go. I feel big things are going to happen for you. And again, thank you for your time.
Of course, anytime.
Awesome. All right, Fit Fam, you got to watch this whole show. So until next time, like, share, write a review. And until next time, Fit Fam, I'm out.